In this video, I'll be listing a ton of great JRPGs from each decade, highlighting some of their key features and strengths. Perhaps you'll discover or rediscover some gems in the process. It's a monster list though, so don't expect a deep dive into each game. By the end of the video, I'll discuss some personal highlights from each decade of my JRPG journey, and I'll crown the true Ultimate's winning decade. Mild spoiler regarding that though, you may glean some insight from the channel name itself. Just a moderate length disclaimer here. I'm not claiming to have finished or played each and every one of the games on this list. If you can't reconcile with that, I understand. If you've been following the channel for some time now, you'd know that most of my gaming took place from the 90s to the mid and late 2000s. Quick story time about me is that when I was a child, we used to live close by to a store selling tons of pirated game CDs for just around 15 to 20 pesos if you buy wholesale, and best believe, I get dozens of games each haul. We owned hundreds and hundreds of games back then. I'm not really proud of that buy. Hey, at the time, I thought it was just a normal video game store, okay? Fast forward years later, and we had a gaming cafe business, renting out PCs and PS2s and Xbox consoles in coin-operated machines where I worked part-time for extra cash. And that means just sitting on the server side playing the whole day. As we've moved towards more recent times, I've been able to play fewer and fewer games while increasing my ever-growing backlog, hence fewer JRPGs from the 2010s will be featured in this video. Furthermore, there have been so many incredible JRPGs released every decade that it's impossible for me to keep track of them all. So if you think I've missed any, which I'm sure I have, feel free to mention them in the comments below. Just wanted to give a shout out to our sponsor, AnimeDakimakurapillow.com. This website is a paradise for all anime enthusiasts out there. Are you looking to express your love for your favorite anime characters? Look no further. AnimeDakimakurapillow.com offers an impressive range of anime merchandise. From exquisitely designed body pillows that make your favorite characters come to life, to clothing that lets you wear your fandom on your sleeve, quite literally. Visit their website today and use the code AZP-ONI to get 10% off in any of your purchase. And remember, supporting them helps support this channel so we can continue providing you with content you love. Now let's get back to the video. Secret of Mana. Secret of Mana saw Square begin a brand new JRPG series alongside Final Fantasy, with the game set to be marketed as a new brand franchise, despite being a direct sequel to 1991's Final Fantasy adventure. It was released in 1993 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System and quickly garnered a loyal following. Secret of Mana sold approximately 2 million copies, and it performed really well with critics. Although the series never quite achieved the same success as Final Fantasy. However, it remains a beloved classic among fans and is often regarded as one of the best JRPGs of its era. The game's real-time combat system, co-op, multiplayer feature, and enchanting soundtrack are just a few of the many reasons why it is still cherished to this day. Dragon Quest IV: Chapters of the Chosen. Dragon Quest IV: Chapters of the Chosen is a classic JRPG that showcases traditional turn-based combat and an iconic cast design by Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama. As the fourth entry in the iconic Dragon Quest franchise, the game features a unique structure where players experience numerous storylines that follow the game's various protagonists. Throughout the game, all of these stories become interwoven, providing an engaging and immersive experience. The game's unique structure and memorable characters have earned it a place on this list of the best JRPGs of the 90s. Fans of the genre will not want to miss out on this classic entry in the Dragon Quest series. Grandia. Grandia is a hidden gem of an RPG that offers a rich fantasy world on the brink of a technological boom. The game features an excellent battle system that builds upon the foundations set by its spiritual predecessor, Lunar. The narrative follows Justin and his quest to uncover the secrets of an ancient civilization after inheriting a magical stone. If you're looking for a fun adventure with a unique story and satisfying combat, Grandia is definitely worth checking out. Don't sleep on this classic title. Final Fantasy IV, known as Final Fantasy II in its original US release, is a classic and legendary JRPG. However, while a lot of fans admire its heroic journey, large cast of characters, and themes of family and redemption, others, however, criticize it for being slow-paced, simplistic, and flat. Regardless, the game is undeniably successful and a pioneering release in the US for the Super Nintendo, subsequently gaining widespread acclaim as a classic title on numerous platforms. Final Fantasy IV epitomizes the JRPG genre with its turn-based combat, emphasis on level grinding, and vast world. Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. Super Mario RPG was a departure from the traditional platformer game that players had come to expect from the Super Mario series. Square took a big risk by transforming the game into a turn-based JRPG similar to Final Fantasy. The game, which used 3D models instead of the traditional 2D style, is one of the best-looking titles on the SNES. Despite being an RPG, the game still managed to include some of the traditional Mario elements such as punching floating question blocks. Super Mario RPG sold approximately 2 million copies and was praised by critics, spawning the popular Paper Mario series that has been released on every Nintendo console since the N64. If you're a fan of Mario and JRPGs, this one is definitely worth checking out. Alundra. Alundra is an action RPG that didn't get the attention it deserved, but it's a gem that is worth checking out. Unlike the majority of JRPGs of its era, Alundra adopts a real-time combat system that does away with turn-based mechanics, which made it feel refreshing. Despite the shift in mechanics, Alundra's writing and story received praise from its deft and dark themes. Many reviews lauded the game's unique puzzle design, which challenged players to think outside the box. The game's difficulty is a standout feature, and it's worth mentioning that this game is not for the faint of heart. Lunar Eternal Blue. Lunar may not have the most riveting story, but it makes up for it with its lovable characters. Hiro and Lucia's charming chemistry is particularly noteworthy, with Hiro standing out as a brave and relatable protagonist who doesn't waste time whining about his quests. In an unusual move, the English localization team injected the script with more humor, fourth wall breaks, and nods to American pop culture. These changes helped make the game more engaging for Western audiences. Overall, Lunar may not be a standout title in terms of plot, but its endearing characters and clever localization make it a noteworthy JRPG of the 90s. Xenogears. Often touted as one of the best games in the genre, Xenogears still manages to impress with its story, gameplay, and characters. Even with some flaws and aged mechanics, the game is still a great example of a classic JRPG. One of the game's most notable features is its vast and varied setting, complete with atmospheric towns filled with secrets, minigames, and rousing music. Additionally, the game's story is complex and features psycho-religious themes, science fiction, and plenty of emotion. With an excellent cast of characters, including the beloved Saitan Uzuki, the game also features various modes of battle and noisome villains to keep players engaged. Few JRPGs can match the level of spirited and playable gameplay offered by Xenogears, making it a timeless classic in the genre. Phantasy Star 4: The End of the Millennium. Phantasy Star 4: The End of the Millennium was a 1993 JRPG that left an indelible mark on the genre, despite some mixed reviews at the time. It was the final entry in the Phantasy Star series before a 7-year hiatus, with the series returning as an MMORPG. The game's high price points, retailing at almost $100, may have contributed to its initial criticism, but it has since become a beloved classic with a dedicated fanbase. The game features a compelling story, memorable characters, and classic turn-based combat, making it a standout title of the 16-bit era. Final Fantasy VII. When discussing the most influential JRPGs of all time, it's impossible to overlook Final Fantasy VII. The game's debut on the PlayStation was a turning point in the industry, as it was the first non-Nintendo console to receive a mainline Final Fantasy title. Its 3D graphics and emphasis on story and characters set a new standard for the genre. Building upon its predecessors, Final Fantasy VII introduced the Materia system, allowing players to customize and enhance their characters' abilities. The game's iconic cast and unforgettable music also helped cement its place in gaming history. Even today, many still consider Final Fantasy VII to be not only the best JRPG ever made, but one of the greatest video games of all time. Lufia 2: Rise of the Sinistrals. Lufia 2: Rise of the Sinistrals is a great JRPG that improved upon its predecessor in many ways. The game was well received by fans of the original and introduced new mechanics such as the ability to capture and raise capsule monsters to fight alongside you. The dungeons no longer had random encounters, which was a welcome change. While the game is technically a prequel to the original Lufia, it's better to play Lufia 2 first to get the full impact of its ending. If you're a fan of classic JRPGs or even Pokemon, Lufia 2 is definitely worth checking out. Shining Force 2. Shining Force 2 is a classic strategy RPG that tells a story of good versus evil, complete with the typical sword-wielding, silent protagonist who saves fancy-haired royalty. It's one of the best examples of this cliché that flooded the zeitgeist with engrossing music and perfectly retro 16-bit graphics. Despite its age, the game has held up well and still provides a fun and engaging experience many years later. Shining Force 2 was one of the first successful strategy RPGs and has influenced many developers who copied its formula. If you're looking for a classic game that has stood the test of time, look no further than Shining Force 2. Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII was a game that left a lasting impression in the JRPG genre, whether for better or for worse. Released in 1999, it was the second game in the series to hit the original PlayStation and featured some of the most impressive visuals seen in an RPG at the time. The game's approach to its gameplay mechanics, such as the use of Guardian Forces and the removal of MP, divided opinions amongst players and critics alike. However, the story and visual presentation were praised by many and cemented the game's place in the Final Fantasy canon. Whether it's your cup of tea or not, there's no denying the impact Final Fantasy VIII had on the genre. Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber. The Ogre Battle series is known for its mature story and setting, setting it apart from other JRPGs. If you're looking for a classic tactical RPG experience, Ogre Battle 64 is a game that should definitely be on your list. The game features real-time combat, similar to its predecessors on the SNES, and presents a considerable challenge for players. Despite its mixed reception among fans and critics regarding its departure from traditional gameplay mechanics, Ogre Battle 64 remains a standout title in the tactical RPG genre. Panzer Dragoon Saga. Panzer Dragoon Saga is an exceptional RPG that is often overlooked due to its limited release on the Sega Saturn in 1997. Despite of its exclusivity, the game stands out for its dark and immersive world, an innovative battle system, memorable characters, and an emotionally charged plotline that leaves players wanting more. The game's standout features also include a stunning soundtrack and top-notch voice work, which lend a unique flavor to the game's alien world. To this day, Panzer Dragoon Saga remains one of the most innovative and unforgettable Japanese RPGs of all time, leaving gamers wondering what the RPG landscape would look like if it had been more widely available upon release. Earthbound. Earthbound, a JRPG classic developed by Ape and HAL Laboratory. This quirky game has since become a cult classic, and for good reason. It boasts a unique and humorous story, charming characters, and an unforgettable soundtrack that has become a fan favorite. Earthbound's blend of turn-based combat and real-world settings, along with its self-aware and often absurd humor, has earned it a place in the hearts of many gamers. It's a game that truly stands the test of time and is worth playing today, even if you missed out on it during its original release. So don't miss the chance to experience one of the best JRPGs of the 90s and one of the greatest games of all time. Dragon Quest V: Hand of the Heavenly Bride. Dragon Quest V is considered one of the best games in the Dragon Quest series. The game offers a unique experience by taking players through the protagonist's life story, from childhood to adulthood, and eventually becoming a parent. This game introduces a monster taming system that would later inspire games like Pokemon. In Dragon Quest V, players have the ability to capture and use monsters in battle, adding a whole new level of depth into the game. It's also worth noting that the game's narrative structure is one of its strongest aspects, telling a compelling story that spans across several decades. Dragon Quest V was not only ahead of its time, but it also served as an inspiration for many of the RPGs that followed. If you're a fan of classic RPGs, Dragon Quest V is an absolute must-play. Wild Arms. Released in 1996, Wild Arms was a true gem of the JRPG genre. This game stood out from the rest of the competition with its action-packed 3D battles, intriguing Wild West/sci-fi setting, and unforgettable characters. While it may not have gained the recognition it deserved due to the release of Final Fantasy VII just a few months later, the adventure of Rudy, Jack, and Cecilia through the slowly decaying world of Filgaia remains just as enjoyable now as it was back then. If you haven't had the chance to discover this franchise yet, now is the perfect time to dive into this classic of the 90s. Lunar, Silver Star Complete. Lunar is the quintessential example of a classic JRPG done right. It successfully captured the essence of adventure by immersing players in a fantastical world brimming with lovable characters. The romantic chemistry between Alex and Luna was especially heartwarming, and the translation work by Working Designs demonstrated a clear passion for excellence, filled with witty dialogue and pop culture nods. This level of care in localization was a rarity at the time, only recently matched by publishers like Atlus and Xseed. Lunar demonstrated that a simple story could still captivate an audience if the characters were compelling enough. The inclusion of a strategic turn-based battle system, fully voiced anime cutscenes, and a wealth of goodies in the collector's edition for the PlayStation version made for an exceptional package that still stands as a paragon of the genre to this day. Pokémon Red and Blue. In 1996, Pokémon was unleashed upon the world, and it became an instant cultural phenomenon that captured the hearts of millions. The first games, Red and Green, or Red and Blue in the West, were simple yet addictive, with players traveling across the Kanto region to collect and train a wide array of creatures called Pokémon. The game was a massive success and spawned an entire franchise, including an anime, trading cards, movies, and more. Over 2 decades later, the franchise is still going strong, with new games and spin-offs being released regularly. With the announcements of the upcoming remakes and new adventure, it's clear that the world will continue to be charmed by these lovable pocket monsters for many years to come. Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VI, released in 1994, is often regarded as one of the most iconic JRPGs of all time. The game boasts a vast, intricate story that's widely recognized for its writing and characters, and features one of the largest and most diverse cast of playable party members in the series. In addition to its engaging narrative, Final Fantasy VI offers players an unprecedented degree of customization for each character, allowing for truly unique gameplay experiences. Its combat system is equally praised for its strategic depth and customization options. All of these elements combined make Final Fantasy VI a standout classic that continues to capture the hearts of RPG fans even to this day. Suikoden 2. Suikoden 2 proved to be a worthy successor to the original game, with a compelling storyline, improved graphics, and a cast of characters that ooze charm and humor. Boasting over 100 party members, each with their own unique strengths, weaknesses, and personalities, Suikoden 2 is a veritable treasure trove for RPG fans seeking variety and depth. The game also features beautifully designed sprites and multiple endings, ensuring players will be revisiting the world of Suikoden 2 for a long time to come. It's no surprise that this game remains one of the most beloved and celebrated JRPGs of the 90s. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Symphony of the Night revolutionized the Castlevania franchise, turning it into a non-linear platformer with multiple pathways and RPG elements. The game's gothic setting, reminiscent of Samus Aran's adventures in Metroid, made exploring Dracula's castle an unforgettable experience. Players could gain new abilities, powers, and equipment while fighting off hundreds of enemies, many of which dropped rare and precious items. However, the game's biggest surprise was the discovery of a second castle that was upside down. A secret that was kept hidden for months and left players in awe. To this day, Symphony of the Night remains a defining title of the genre and one of the greatest games ever made.
Then for the master, I'll...
Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger, released in 1995, is a JRPG that has truly stood the test of time. Developed by an all-star team including Final Fantasy creator Hironobu Sakaguchi and Dragon Quest creator Yuji Horii. The game features time travel, iconic character designs by Akira Toriyama, and a massive sprawling adventure that spans multiple eras. But it's not just the game's grand scope that makes it stand out. Chrono Trigger introduced numerous features that would go on to influence countless games in the years that followed, from its multiple intricately connected endings to its focus on character development and the interplay between party members. With memorable characters, a killer soundtrack, and a deep, rewarding combat system, Chrono Trigger remains an all-time classic and a must-play for any fan of the JRPG genre. Breath of Fire 3. Breath of Fire 3 may not be the most talked about game in this series, but it certainly deserves its spot on this list. While I personally prefer Breath of Fire 4, there's no denying that 3 has a special place in the hearts of many gamers. One of the highlights is its engaging narrative, full of memorable characters and an interesting world to explore. The game also introduced 3D environments to the franchise, a significant step forward in its visual design. Additionally, the jazzy soundtrack is an absolute delight to listen to, adding an extra layer of charm to an already captivating game. Final Fantasy Tactics. During the early days of PlayStation, Square experimented with various franchises and genres. Final Fantasy Tactics was a result of such experimentation, and it remains one of the company's greatest achievements in trying something new with their tentpole title. Created by the creator of Tactics Ogre, the game was a turn-based SRPG that incorporated jobs from numerous core titles. With the ability to master every job for every character, Tactics allowed for almost limitless strategy and player choice. The game also had a complex and intricate story that was realized with the help of the re-release on PSP, making Final Fantasy Tactics one of the best examples of the RPG genre even today. Tactics Ogre. Let us cling together. Tactics Ogre is a game that deserves more recognition than it received upon release. The original game on Super Famicom is a masterpiece that shaped the genre profoundly, and the game's re-release on PlayStation made it accessible to a wider audience. Developed by Quest, the game features a solid story, pristine graphics, and almost perfect gameplay. While the class system in Tactics Ogre is incredible, it falls just short of the same system in Final Fantasy Tactics. Nevertheless, Tactics Ogre is a classic that deserves to be played by anyone who loves tactical RPGs. Chrono Cross. Chrono Cross, the sequel to Chrono Trigger, may have lacked the iconic art style of Akira Toriyama, but it still managed to be a worthy successor to the original classic. Despite being released in Japan during 1999, it still counts as one of the best JRPGs of the 90s. One of its main strengths was its relatable story that dealt with the unfairness of life and the things we can and cannot control. The game also featured an impressive cast of characters, with each of them having their own unique backstory and motivations. Additionally, the game's use of a branching storyline and multiple endings made each playthrough a unique and engaging experience. Live Alive. Kicking off our list with the 1994 gem, Live Alive, a JRPG that weaves together multiple narratives across different time periods. It presents a distinct approach to storytelling that keeps you engaged as you uncover the true connection between the various protagonists. Sprinkle in a bit of fantastic pixel art and a dash of strategic turn-based combat, and you've got a recipe for an unforgettable journey. It's just a shame that this masterpiece never saw an official English release back in the day, but hey, you can play the remastered versions of it, now available in modern platforms. Romancing Saga 3. Cruising into number 2 is Romancing Saga 3, the 1995 epic that many consider the pinnacle of the Saga series. You'll be spoiled for choice with its non-linear gameplay, 8 main characters, and branching storylines. The free-form progression system lets you explore a rich and realized world at your leisure while taking on dynamic quests. Combat sees a twist with the unique Glimmer system, and the soundtrack is just chef's kiss perfect. Mwah! It's a JRPG classic that truly deserves its place on this list. Terranigma. Terranigma, our number 3, is a 1995 action-adventure RPG that tells the tale of a young hero's quest to resurrect a destroyed world. Unravel the mystery of the planet's demise as you battle your way through dungeons and overworlds with a delightful real-time combat system. The gameplay is smooth, the graphics are stunning, and the story is equal parts heartwarming and heart-wrenching. Terranigma is one of those rare gems that simply oozes charm and atmosphere, making it a must-play for any fan of the genre. Tales of Phantasia. Swinging in at number 4 is Tales of Phantasia, the 1995 originator of the beloved Tales series. This game almost single-handedly redefined JRPG combat with its revolutionary linear motion battle system, allowing for real-time, side-scrolling brawls that are as thrilling as they are strategic. With a time-traveling narrative that unfolds across a sprawling world, the game has enough twists and turns to keep you guessing from start to finish. And if that wasn't enough, the sprite-based visuals and memorable soundtrack perfectly capture the essence of 90s gaming. Suikoden. Rounding out the first 5 is Suikoden, a 1995 classic that boasts an intriguing story, a massive cast of characters, and a gripping war-based combat system. Assemble an army of 108 stars of destiny to take on an impressive empire, all while managing your own fortress and navigating a web of political intrigue. The game's strategic battles are a breath of fresh air in the genre, and its endearing pixel art is truly nostalgic. Tales of Destiny. Starting off the second half of our list at number 6 is Tales of Destiny, the 1997 sequel to Tales of Phantasia, which further refines the series' beloved linear motion battle system. You'll find yourself embroiled in a tale of political intrigue, betrayal, and ancient swords as you guide protagonist Stan on his journey to save the world. Its vivid 2D graphics and memorable soundtrack create an unmistakably 90s vibe that fans of the era will adore. It's a solid entry in the Tales series and an essential play for any JRPG enthusiast. Trials of Mana. Charging into the number 8 spot is Trials of Mana, the 1995 action RPG that offers real-time combat, a colorful cast of characters, and a non-linear story that changes depending on your chosen protagonist. With 6 heroes to pick from and multiple story paths, replayability is high, making it an ideal choice for those who enjoy exploring every nook and cranny of a game's narrative. Combine this with a catchy soundtrack and lush 16-bit visuals, and Trials of Mana stands tall as a prime example of 90s JRPG brilliance. Illusion of Gaia. At number 9, we have Illusion of Gaia, a 1993 action-adventure RPG that takes players on a global trotting journey filled with mystery and intrigue. As protagonist Will, you'll explore ancient ruins, solve puzzles, and battle sinister forces with your shape-shifting abilities. The game's beautiful visuals and atmospheric soundtrack help to create an immersive world that's just begging to be explored. Illusion of Gaia's colorful blend of action and puzzle solving makes it a standout title in the genre. Final Fantasy V. Finally, rounding out the first 10 is the legendary Final Fantasy V, released in 1992. It's a title that truly showcases the series' strengths, with an engaging story, memorable characters, and a deep job system that allows for endless customization. The turn-based battles and strategic party composition make for a satisfying gameplay experience, while the game's unforgettable soundtrack perfectly complements the epic adventure. It may be one of the earlier entries in this series, but Final Fantasy V remains an essential play for any JRPG fan. Robotrek. Kicking off the final stretch at number 11 is Robotrek, a quirky 1992 JRPG that combines a light-hearted atmosphere with some seriously deep customization mechanics. As a young inventor, you'll build and upgrade robots to aid you in your quest to save the world from a sinister organization. The game's turn-based battle system encourages experimentation and strategic thinking, while the colorful visuals and catchy tunes creates a distinctly retro experience. If you're a fan of mechs and a good dose of humor, Robotrek is right up your alley. Front Mission 3. Marching into number 12 spot is Front Mission 3, a 1999 tactical RPG that takes the mech genre to new heights with its richly detailed story and strategic grid-based combat. The deep customization options for your mechs, known as Wanzers, ensure that each skirmish feels fresh and engaging. With its mature themes and gripping plot, Front Mission 3 is a must-play for any fan of mech-based strategy games. Jade Cocoon. At lucky number 13, we have Jade Cocoon, a 1998 gem that combines monster-catching gameplay with a rich, hand-drawn art style. As a young cocoon master, you'll embark on a quest to save your village, capturing and combining monsters to create powerful new allies. The game's turn-based combat system is familiar yet refined, and the evolving narrative offers a fresh take on traditional JRPG tropes. Jade Cocoon is a delightful experience that offers plenty of depth for both collectors and strategists alike. Cartia, The World of Fate. Sneaking in at number 14 is Cartia, The World of Fate, a 1998 tactical RPG that pairs grid-based combat with a unique card-based magic system. You'll follow the intertwining stories of two protagonists, each with their own perspective on the unfolding events, as you maneuver through intense battles and make difficult choices. The game's art and character designs, courtesy of Final Fantasy veteran Yoshitaka Amano, give it a distinct visual flair that sets it apart from other titles of the era. For fans of strategy and narrative depth, Cartia is a hidden gem just waiting to be discovered. Valkyrie Profile. Finally, closing out our list at number 15 is Valkyrie Profile, a 1999 masterpiece that combines Norse mythology with a side-scrolling action RPG format. As the titular Valkyrie, you'll recruit fallen heroes, train them for battle, and decide their ultimate fates in the war between gods and giants. The beloved combat system blends real-time action with turn-based strategy, while the game's haunting soundtrack and striking visuals create an unforgettable atmosphere. With its unique premise and engaging gameplay, Valkyrie Profile is a fitting finale to our list of the best JRPGs of the 1990s Part 3. Kudelka. In 1999, Kudelka swooped onto the PlayStation, a spooky and atmospheric JRPG with a rich, gothic backdrop. The turn-based battles were jazzed up by some fascinating 3D environments, and a spine-tingling soundtrack kept us on our toes. Kudelka's unique mix of JRPG and survival horror elements made it a real unsung gem, and one that definitely deserves your attention. Combine that with a gripping, mature story full of twists and turns, and you've got yourself an underrated classic that's ripe for rediscovery. Brave Fencer Musashi. Leaping into our lives in 1998, Brave Fencer Musashi slashed its way onto the PlayStation with a sword and a cheeky grin. With its action-packed gameplay and colorful visuals, it's the kind of game you could lose hours to, slashing and puzzle-solving through a whimsical world. Plus, Musashi's dual-wielding swords mechanic made for some truly satisfying combat. It's a shame it's so often overshadowed by the heavyweights of the genre. Throw in a memorable cast of characters and a quirky sense of humor, and you have a true gem that's begging for a playthrough. Legend of Legaia. Legend of Legaia arrived on the PlayStation in 1998, delivering a punch, quite literally, with its innovative combat system. The tactical arts system allowed players to input combos, making battles feel more dynamic and engaging than your typical turn-based fare. The game's engrossing narrative and charming cast of characters helped to make Legend of Legaia an unforgettable experience that's often overlooked in the vast ocean of 90s JRPGs. With a world in peril and an interesting take on the classic JRPG formula, Legend of Legaia is one adventure you won't want to miss. Threads of Fate. Threads of Fate burst onto the PlayStation scene in 1999, weaving a whimsical tale with a dual protagonist system that let you experience the game through two unique characters. The vibrant graphics, engaging combat, and delightful soundtrack all work together to create a magical experience. Though it might not be the longest JRPG around, Threads of Fate's charm and depth make it a memorable hidden gem. The ability to shapeshift into various forms and access new abilities only adds to the game's appeal, creating a sense of wonder and exploration that's too often overlooked. The Grand Stream Saga. Setting sail in 1997, the Grand Stream Saga arrived on the PlayStation with its intriguing blend of action RPG gameplay and strategic puzzle solving. The game's rich 3D environments and distinct art style made it stand out from the crowd, while its real-time combat kept us hooked and challenged. The Grand Stream Saga's intriguing story of floating continents and ancient relics set the stage for a grand adventure that's worth revisiting. With a likable cast of characters and a unique blend of gameplay elements, this unsung gem deserves a spot on any JRPG fan's playlist. Parasite Eve. In 1998, Parasite Eve infected the PlayStation with its fusion of action RPG and survival horror gameplay. Set in a hauntingly atmospheric New York City, the game's gripping narrative unfolded with chilling intensity. Parasite Eve's real-time combat system added a welcome layer of strategic depth, forcing players to think on their feet and adapt to ever-changing situations. The eerie, unforgettable soundtrack only heightened the tension, making for an immersive experience that's hard to put down. If you're a fan of JRPGs with a twist, Parasite Eve's chilling tale is one you need to play. Star Ocean. Blasting off in 1996, Star Ocean rocketed onto the Super Famicom with its refreshing blend of sci-fi and fantasy elements. The game's action-packed real-time combat system was a breath of fresh air, keeping us on our toes as we explored vibrant alien worlds. Star Ocean's branching storylines and multiple endings added a level of depth and replayability that was rare for its time. The game's immersive graphics and catchy soundtrack only added to its appeal, making it a standout title that's ripe for rediscovery. If you're a JRPG fan with a taste for adventure, then Star Ocean's interstellar journey is one you'll want to embark on. Vandal Hearts 2. Sneaking onto the PlayStation in 1999, Vandal Hearts 2 brought a fresh dose of tactical RPG goodness to the console. With its simultaneous turn-based combat system, the game added a distinct layer of strategy that kept us engaged and challenged. Vandal Hearts 2's rich story of political intrigue and warfare unfolded across a diverse range of battlefields, demanding our full attention. The game's visuals and soundtrack perfectly complemented its dark atmosphere, immersing us in a world teetering on the edge of chaos. If you're a fan of strategy and JRPGs, Vandal Hearts 2's gripping tale of betrayal and redemption is one you don't want to miss out on. Legend of Mana. In 1999, Legend of Mana enchanted PlayStation owners with its lush visuals, stirring soundtrack, and a non-linear storytelling. The game's innovative land make system allowed players to shape the world and uncover new areas, creating a personalized adventure unlike any other. Legend of Mana's charming cast of characters and diverse side quests kept us thoroughly entertained, while its action-based combat system kept things fast-paced and exciting. The game's gorgeous, hand-painted backgrounds and vivid character designs remain striking even today, making it a true visual treat. Legend of Mana's unforgettable fusion of classic JRPG elements and groundbreaking ideas make it a true hidden gem of the 90s. The Seventh Saga. In 1993, the Seventh Saga stormed into the SNES with its interesting blend of traditional JRPG gameplay and a competitive twist. Players embarked on a quest to retrieve 7 magical runes, choosing one of 7 distinct characters, each with their own storylines and abilities. The game's innovative twist was that the other 6 characters, controlled by AI, would also be competing against you in real time, adding a layer of tension and urgency to the adventure. The Seventh Saga's atmospheric soundtrack and challenging difficulty level made it an unforgettable experience for those brave enough to tackle it. If you're up for a challenge and seeking a fresh spin on the classic JRPG formula, the Seventh Saga is a gem worth unearthing. Secrets of Evermore. In 1995, Secrets of Evermore transported SNES players to a mysterious and enchanting world with its engaging action RPG gameplay. The game's alchemy system allowed players to create powerful spells by combining ingredients, encouraging experimentation and strategic thinking. Secrets of Evermore's rich story, charming characters, and a lovable canine companion made it an adventure that tugged at our heartstrings. The game's immersive environments and evocative soundtrack only added to its appeal, creating a captivating world that's ripe for exploration. If you're looking for a nostalgic trip down memory lane, Secrets of Evermore's magical journey is one you don't want to miss. Breath of Fire 2. Blazing onto the SNES in 1994, Breath of Fire 2 continued the legacy of the beloved Breath of Fire series with its mystical story, lovable characters, and classic turn-based combat. The game's epic narrative of dragons, gods, and a world in peril kept us glued to our screens, while its diverse cast of characters and tried-and-true gameplay made each moment feel fresh and exciting. Breath of Fire 2's town-building system allowed players to recruit NPCs and create their own custom village, adding an extra layer of depth and personalization to the experience. With its colorful visuals and enchanting soundtrack, Breath of Fire 2 is an underrated gem that deserves a place in any JRPG fan's collection. If you haven't experienced this classic adventure, now's the perfect time to dive in and discover its timeless charm. Wild Arms 2. In 1999, Wild Arms 2 blasted onto the PlayStation with a bang, bringing us a thrilling tale of gunslingers, ancient technology, and a world on the brink of destruction. The game's blend of turn-based combat and puzzle solving, combined with its unique tools system, made for a truly engaging and dynamic experience. Wild Arm 2's memorable cast of characters and sprawling, interconnected world drew us in, while its stirring soundtrack kept us hooked. The game's distinctive Wild West meets fantasy aesthetic set it apart from other JRPGs of the era, making it a true hidden gem. If you're a fan of the Wild Arms series or just looking for an unforgettable adventure, Wild Arms 2 is a must-play. Digimon World. In 1999, Digimon World leaped onto the PlayStation, introducing players to a digital world teeming with lovable characters to befriend and train. This nostalgic JRPG blended monster racing mechanics with a charming, open-world adventure, resulting in a truly addictive gaming experience. Digimon World's engaging real-time combat and deep monster evolution system kept us coming back for more, eager to uncover the mysteries of the digital world. With its colorful visuals and catchy soundtrack, Digimon World remains a nostalgic favorite for many fans of the franchise. If you are a Digimon fan or just love monster racing JRPGs, then this unsung gem is definitely worth a visit. Guardians Crusade. Guardians Crusade soared into the PlayStation in 1999, delivering a delightful JRPG experience full of charm and whimsy. The game's heartwarming story followed a knight and his unlikely companion, a baby monster named Baby, as they embarked on a quest to save the world. Guardians Crusade's Living Toys system added a layer of strategy to the game's turn-based combat, allowing players to use various toys to aid them in battle. The game's vibrant visuals and enchanting soundtrack perfectly complemented its light-hearted tone, making it an endearing experience that's easy to get lost in. If you're looking for a feel-good JRPG with a unique twist, Guardians Crusade is a hidden gem worth discovering. Persona 3 FES. First on our list is Persona 3, a game that set the foundation of the social link system for Persona games. Although it may not be as popular as Persona 4 or 5, it introduced gameplay mechanics that are now considered staples of the series. The game features a day and night cycle, where players attend school during the day and explore the massive dungeon, Tartarus, during the evening. Along the way, managing relationships and friendships is a key aspect of the game. With its somber tone and two distinct forms of gameplay, it's no surprise that fans loved Persona 3.
Please hit!
Valkyria Chronicles. Valkyria Chronicles truly broke the mold with its innovative take on turn-based strategy games in the 2000s. It threw out the rulebook by allowing players to roam within set boundaries, but not without the risk of enemy fire if they wandered into harm's way. A thrilling twist that worked both ways. While other titles have put their own spins on the genre since then, Valkyria Chronicles remains a bit of an unsung gem. You can't help but ponder if it might have soared to greater heights had it arrived a decade later. Nonetheless, it's earned its place as a must-play for hardcore fans of turn-based strategy. Advance Wars. Advance Wars, released exclusively for the Game Boy Advance in 2001, has become a cult classic over the years. This was the first Nintendo Wars game to make it overseas, featuring a clash between two warring nations, Orange Star and Blue Moon. As a member of Orange Star, players must command various units on the turn-based battlefield to defeat the enemy. What sets Advance Wars apart is its Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic, making it an unforgettable experience. The game also features a rock-paper-scissors style system that's amplified by resource management and terrain. All of these factors make Advance Wars an interesting game in the turn-based strategy genre, and it also has a dedicated fanbase. Dragon Quest VIII: Journey of the Cursed King. Dragon Quest is a JRPG franchise that's been around for over 3 decades, with the first game releasing way back in 1986. Dragon Quest VIII, released in 2005 for the PS2, is a culmination of everything that made the series popular to begin with. Although the combat in the game is a standard turn-based affair, the charm lies in its colorful cast of characters. Fans of Dragon Ball will recognize the distinct art style of Akira Toriyama, the creator of the iconic anime and artist of Chrono Trigger. Dragon Quest VIII's gameplay and design remain true to the franchise's roots, making it a perfect entry point for newcomers to the series. Final Fantasy X. When Final Fantasy X was released, players had certain expectations of what a JRPG should be. However, the game changed things up in a big way by eliminating the world map and introducing a linear gameplay experience until the endgame, where players could roam around more freely. Another significant change was the replacement of traditional levels with the sphere grid, which gave players more freedom on how each character progressed. Fans were initially skeptical of these changes, but their worries were put to rest once they started playing. Final Fantasy X was a groundbreaking game that redefined the JRPG genre, introducing new gameplay mechanics that would become a staple of the series. Its unique take on character progression and world design make it a must-play for anyone who loves JRPGs.
10 years without a single win will do that.
Kingdom Hearts 2. One of the best JRPGs of the 2000s is undoubtedly Kingdom Hearts 2, the sequel to the beloved Disney and Final Fantasy crossover game. As an action RPG, players control Sora as he explores various Disney worlds and battles the nefarious Organization 13. The hack-and-slash gameplay is made even better with the introduction of the drive gauge, allowing Sora and recognizable Disney friends like Mickey and Donald to become more powerful. Originally released on the PlayStation 2, Kingdom Hearts 2 is now available on multiple platforms. If you're looking for a classic JRPG experience that combines beloved Disney characters with Final Fantasy gameplay, then Kingdom Hearts 2 is the perfect game for you.
Donald.
Grandia 2. Grandia 2 is a turn-based RPG that was released for the Sega Dreamcast in 2000, and it's often cited as one of the best games available for that console. While some reviews at the time criticized the game's shortcomings in its gameplay, it was highly regarded for its impressive graphics and unique battle system. At the time, Grandia 2's battle system was ahead of its time, combining traditional turn-based elements with more modern mechanics such as movements within a given battle. This gameplay approach would later be used in modern JRPGs like Final Fantasy VII Remake. If you're a fan of classic JRPGs or the Dreamcast, Grandia 2 is definitely a game worth checking out. Its innovative battle system and impressive graphics make it one of the must-play games of the 2000s. Mega Man Legends 2. Mega Man Legends 2 is the continuation of the mechanics that made the original game a hit. However, what makes this sequel impressive is how lively its game world feels on the original PlayStation. From side quests to dungeons, the game's story and adventure elements are some of the best you'll find in a JRPG from that era. It's a shame that the game's cliffhanger ending has yet to be resolved. Fans were excited when Mega Man Legends 3 was announced for the Nintendo 3DS, but sadly, that game was cancelled, leaving fans with an unresolved cliffhanger. Nevertheless, Mega Man Legends 2 remains a gem and a must-play. Final Fantasy XII. Final Fantasy XII is another iconic JRPG of the 2000s, originally released for the PlayStation 2. The game takes place in the world of Ivalice, where players are part of a resistance group fighting in a war between the nations of Arcadia and Rosaria. Unlike previous entries in the series, Final Fantasy XII does not feature randomized battle encounters and introduces the active dimension battle and gambit system to the gameplay. Even the original visuals still hold up today, and the complex battle system make it unique from other Final Fantasy games. If you want to experience this classic game, the much improved Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age is available on multiple platforms.
Alright, out the way!
Vagrant Story. Vagrant Story, developed by Square, is a visually stunning game that represents the technological peak of what the original PlayStation was capable of. This dungeon crawler game opts to focus on combat and dungeon exploration, foregoing the typical shops and towns found in other JRPGs. This design allows for an in-depth weapon and armor crafting system that sets Vagrant Story apart from other action games. The game's graphics and attention to detail are very impressive, making it a must-play for fans of the genre. Vagrant Story is a great example of how a JRPG can be immersive and enjoyable without relying on traditional RPG mechanics. Persona 4. Persona 4 takes everything that made Persona 3 a memorable JRPG and builds upon it in every way possible. Players take on the role of Yu Narukami, a high school student who arrives in the quiet town of Inaba, only to discover the existence of a supernatural TV dimension and a series of mysterious murders happening around him. With the aid of a friendly cast of characters and powerful beings called Personas, Yu and his friends must battle their inner demons and catch the culprit behind these killings. Players can enjoy school during the day, form meaningful relationships with NPCs, and hunt shadows in labyrinthine dungeons. The game balances mature themes with a cheerful exterior, and its addictive gameplay loop is what keeps fans coming back. If you're looking for a great JRPG from the 2000s, Persona 4 is a must-play. But if you want the ultimate Persona 4 experience, then play Persona 4 Golden that's now released on modern platforms.
And the weird room we saw before? Did they exist because the ones who died entered this world?
Golden Sun. Golden Sun, released for the Game Boy Advance in 2001, is often regarded as one of the best handheld JRPGs ever made. The game features impressive sprite work and a great soundtrack, with some of the most detailed sprites on the Game Boy Advance pushing the console to its graphical limits. Thanks to its immersive graphics, players can easily lose themselves in the game's world. The game's story and finely tuned combat were praised by reviewers at the time of its release, with some touting it as the best JRPG to have been released in years. If you're a fan of classic handheld RPGs, Golden Sun is a must-play. With its excellent graphics, gripping story, and finely tuned combat, it's no surprise that this game is still talked about today as one of the best JRPGs of the 2000s. Skies of Arcadia. Skies of Arcadia, one of the most favorably reviewed Sega Dreamcast games of all time, is a classic JRPG that features many of the mechanics that make the genre great. While it uses turn-based combat, Skies of Arcadia puts a larger emphasis on exploration than many other games in the genre. Players spend much of their time traversing the game's rich world via airship, which adds an extra layer of adventure and excitement to the game. With great combat and frequently praised writing, it's no surprise that Skies of Arcadia resonated with so many critics. If you're looking for a classic JRPG with an emphasis on exploration and adventure, Skies of Arcadia is a must-play. Paper Mario. Paper Mario is often considered the spiritual successor to the SNES classic Super Mario RPG, and it definitely lives up to the standards set by its predecessor. While not an official sequel, it's the second RPG to feature Mario in a starring role. One of the things that fans loved is its excellent writing. In a time when few games had witty dialogue and funny humor, Paper Mario came out as a great example of great writing in a JRPG. The game's sequel, The Thousand-Year Door for the GameCube, is similarly beloved and worth playing if you're a fan of the original. If you're a fan of Mario, RPGs, or just great writing in games, you owe it to yourself to check out Paper Mario. It's one of the best JRPGs of the 2000s. Final Fantasy IX. In the evolution of the Final Fantasy series, we've seen complexity grow in settings, mechanics, and characters. Once rooted in simpler fantasy adventures, possibly due to hardware limitations, the franchise took a sci-fi turn with the releases of Final Fantasy VII and VIII. But then, Final Fantasy IX burst onto the PS1 scene, sporting stunning graphics and a return to its fantasy origins, all without losing depth. Boasting an enchanting medieval aesthetic, unforgettable characters, a phenomenal soundtrack, and a classic turn-based battle system, this entry left fans yearning for a remake to re-experience its magic.
Come on, try me.
Rogue Galaxy. Rogue Galaxy. This delightful action RPG takes us on a space-faring adventure with Jaster Rogue, a young lad dreaming of traversing the stars. What sets this game apart is its seamless real-time combat system, which makes for thrilling encounters with galactic baddies. The cel-shaded graphics and distinctive character designs truly make the vast universe come to life. And let's not forget the intricate weapon synthesis system that'll have you constantly hunting for materials to forge better gear. The Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky. Next up, we have The Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky, a gem that shines bright in the world of JRPGs. The game takes us on a journey with Estelle and Joshua Bright, two siblings who aspire to become bracers, elite peacekeepers in their world. The turn-based combat system, complete with a Greer-based tactical layer, adds depth and strategy to every encounter. With its charming story, a staggering amount of world building, and a lovable cast of characters, Trails in the Sky demands your attention and refuses to let go. Shadow Hearts. Shadow Hearts takes the JRPG formula and adds a delightfully dark twist, transporting us to an alternate history with a mix of real-world locations and supernatural elements. The game's protagonist, Yuri, is a moody anti-hero with the power to fuse into different demons, offering a dynamic and ever-evolving battle system. The unique Judgment Ring mechanic adds a layer of tension to each turn-based combat encounter, demanding precision and timing from the player. Shadow Hearts is an eerie, atmospheric adventure that's perfect for those who crave a more mature and unconventional JRPG experience. Radiata Stories. Radiata Stories invites us into a beautiful, colorful world with a delightful sense of humor and a fascinating day-night cycle that sees its inhabitants living out their daily lives. As protagonist Jack Russell, you'll be recruiting a whopping 176 potential party members, each with their own story and abilities, making every playthrough feel unique. The real-time combat system allows for strategic formation changes, making battles dynamic. Radiata Stories is a charming and underrated gem that deserves to be unearthed and enjoyed by any JRPG fan.
Who are you? Gans Rothschild at your service.
Suikoden 5. Suikoden 5 takes the acclaimed series to new, or rather similar heights set by Suikoden 2, featuring a gripping story about political intrigue, war, and rebellion. Players step into the shoes of the Prince of Falena, who must unite the 108 Stars of Destiny to reclaim his kingdom. The game's strategic large-scale army battles are perfectly complemented by the traditional turn-based combat, offering a rich and varied gameplay experience. Suikoden 5 is an epic adventure that will take a hold of you with its deeply woven narrative and memorable characters. Digital Devil Saga. The world of Digital Devil Saga is a grim, post-apocalyptic landscape where tribes battle for supremacy and the ability to ascend to a mythical paradise called Nirvana. As Surf, the leader of the Embryon tribe, players must navigate this brutal world while utilizing the unique Atma system to devour enemies and gain their powers. The game's challenging turn-based combat keeps you on your toes, while its dark, mature storyline draws you deeper into its richly detailed world. Digital Devil Saga is a must-play for those who crave a more intense and thought-provoking JRPG experience. Xenosaga Episode 1 Tervirdermak. Xenosaga Episode 1 kicks off an epic sci-fi trilogy with a story that spans thousands of years and a narrative that tackles philosophy, theology, and the very nature of existence. As Shion, chief engineer of Vector Industries, you'll uncover dark conspiracies and ancient secrets while navigating a strategic turn-based battle system with customizable mechs called AGWS. The game's deep, cinematic storytelling and impressive cutscenes set it apart from the pack, making it an unforgettable journey for any JRPG fan. Xenosaga Episode 1 is a brilliant, ambitious start to a series that pushes the boundaries of what a JRPG can be. Ys, the Oath in Felghana. Ys the Oath in Felghana takes the long-running action RPG series to new heights, with protagonist Adol Kristin embarking on a thrilling quest to save the land of Felghana. The game's fast-paced, real-time combat system and platforming elements make for a heart-pumping experience that's equal parts action and adventure. Its rockin' soundtrack and beautifully crafted world serve as the perfect backdrop for Adol's journey. Ys the Oath in Felghana is a must-play for fans of the series and newcomers alike. Odin Sphere. Odin Sphere is a visually stunning, side-scrolling action RPG that weaves together the tales of 5 interconnected characters in a beautifully crafted world inspired by Norse mythology. The game's striking, hand-drawn artwork and fluid animations create a visual experience that's truly a feast for the eyes. Odin Sphere's real-time combat system is fast and intense, with a heavy emphasis on combo attacks and strategic use of skills. This artistic masterpiece combines a gripping story with thrilling gameplay to create a JRPG experience that's not to be missed. Blue Dragon. Blue Dragon, a collaboration between Final Fantasy creator Hironobu Sakaguchi and Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama, is a delightful fusion of turn-based combat and whimsical storytelling. Set in a world where people's shadows can transform into powerful creatures, you'll embark on an epic adventure to save the world from an ancient evil. The game's strategic combat system encourages experimentation with shadow abilities, keeping battles fresh and engaging. Blue Dragon's distinct art style, likable characters, and immersive world make it a must-play for any JRPG enthusiast. Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn is a tactical RPG that offers deep strategy, a complex story, and a cast of memorable characters that will keep you invested from start to finish. The game picks up with its predecessor, Path of Radiance, left off, allowing players to witness the aftermath of a continent-spanning war. Radiant Dawn's iconic turn-based tactical combat system and the permanent death mechanic for characters keep you on your toes, forcing you to think carefully about each move. With its complex narrative and richly detailed world, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn is a standout entry in the series that any strategy-loving JRPG fan should play. Tales of Vesperia. Tales of Vesperia thrusts you into the shoes of Yuri Lowell, a former knight on a quest to save the world from an ancient power. The game features the series' signature linear motion battle system, which combines real-time combat with strategic character positioning, making battles a thrilling and dynamic experience. Vesperia's cel-shaded graphics, lovable cast of characters, and a fantastical story filled with twists and turns make it a solid entry in the Tales franchise. This fan-favorite JRPG offers a perfect balance of humor, action, and emotion, making it an unforgettable adventure that you won't want to miss. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance takes the strategic, grid-based gameplay of its predecessor and transports it to the magical world of Ivalice, where a group of friends find themselves trapped. The game boasts an incredibly deep job system, allowing you to customize your characters with various abilities, making each playthrough unique. With a gripping story, memorable characters, and a soundtrack that perfectly complements its charming world, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance is a tactical RPG masterpiece that shouldn't be overlooked. Tales of Symphonia. Tales of Symphonia, much like the earlier Tales of Vesperia, is a beloved entry in the Tales series. Featuring a captivating story, endearing characters, and a colorful world that begs to be explored. The game's real-time combat system, known as the multi-line linear motion battle system, adds a layer of depth and strategy to battles, while still maintaining the fast-paced action the series is known for. Symphonia's cel-shaded art style and memorable soundtrack come together to create a truly enchanting JRPG experience. With its engaging narrative and lovable cast, Tales of Symphonia is a must-play for any fan of the genre.
You need a key crest all of a sudden.
I met someone today who has an
Breath of Fire 4. Breath of Fire 4 is a fan-favorite JRPG that follows the intertwining tales of Ryu, a young man with the power to transform into dragons, and Folu, an ancient emperor with a mysterious past. The game features a classic turn-based combat system with a unique combo mechanic that encourages experimentation with different character abilities. Its beautifully animated sprites, richly detailed world, and an enthralling story make Breath of Fire 4 a standout entry in the series. With its switching narrative, strategic gameplay, and charming visuals, this game is a must-play for any JRPG enthusiast. Baten Kaitos, Eternal Wings and the Lost Ocean. Baten Kaitos' Eternal Wings and the Lost Ocean is like stepping into a stunning watercolor painting that's come to life. This game takes the classic JRPG formula, throws it into the sky, and then just leaves it there. That's right, the world is a series of floating islands, and you'd better believe they're as fantastical as they sound. One of the standout features of Baten Kaitos is its card-based combat system. Instead of your usual spells and swords, you're dealing with a deck of Magnus cards. It's a delightful mix of strategy and unpredictability that keeps every battle feeling fresh. The story, revolving around Callus and his quest for revenge, is a twisted tale filled with surprises and unforgettable characters. And let's not forget about the music. Motoi Sakuraba's soundtrack is a symphony of epic orchestral compositions that will make you feel like you're soaring through the skies yourself. It's a game that's full of charm and personality. Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria. Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria, a game where Norse mythology meets JRPG in a beautiful dance. And when I say beautiful, I mean it. The game is visually stunning with intricate details and animations that make every frame feel like a work of art. The game plays with an innovative combat system that combines real-time movement with turn-based strategy. It's a ballet of epic battles where positioning and timing are as important as the strength of your attack. The story is a rich tapestry of gods, mortals, and the intertwined destinies that bind them. Our heroine, Silmeria, is one of 3 Valkyrie sisters, and her journey is one of betrayal, redemption, and epic battles. With its combination of beautiful graphics, a complex story, and an innovative combat system, Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria is a masterpiece that any JRPG fan should experience. Lost Odyssey. Lost Odyssey. It's like if Final Fantasy and a beautifully written novel had a love child. This game is the brainchild of Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy, and it shows. Lost Odyssey brings together all the elements we love in a JRPG. A rich world, memorable characters, and a combat system that's as deep as it is engaging. But where it really shines is its story. The game follows Cain, an immortal who has lost his memories, and the journey to regain them spans not just a vast world, but also 1,000 years. But it's not all epic battles and world-saving. The game features 1,000 Years of Dream, a collection of text-based stories that delve into Cain's past. These stories are deeply emotional and beautifully written, adding layers to the character and the world that most games can only dream of. Lost Odyssey is a game that's not afraid to tug at your heartstrings while delivering an epic JRPG experience. Magna Carta Tears of Blood. Magna Carta Tears of Blood is a game that's as intriguing as its title. The game presents a world where humans and the native Yasen are locked in a bitter conflict, and you, playing as Kalint, are stuck right in the middle.
The combat system is a blend of traditional turn-based mechanics and timing-based elements that will keep you on your toes. And oh, the Trinity action system is like a game of rock, paper, scissors but with elemental magic and attacks. But what really makes Magna Carta stand out is its artwork. The character designs are by Korean artist Hyung Tae Kim, and they're gorgeous, full of detail and personality. The story is a richly woven tapestry of politics, betrayal, and personal growth. It's like a good book that you can't put down. The game's blend of engaging gameplay and captivating narrative makes Magna Carta Tears of Blood a hidden gem in the world of JRPGs. Wild Arms 3. Wild Arms 3 is like a love letter to the spaghetti westerns of old, but with a JRPG twist. You know those movies, tumbleweeds, saloons, and gritty gunfights? Yeah, that's Wild Arms 3, only with a dollop of magic, a sprinkle of turn-based battles, and a healthy measure of exploration. It's the Wild West of your dreams, but not as you know it. You take control of Virginia and her gang of drifters, who are as varied as they are interesting. From a gunslinger who's lost his memory to a robot cowboy, there's no shortage of quirky characters to meet. The story is rich and layered, like a good trifle. Only the trifle is made of guns and magic, and it's being served in a saloon. Coupled with a striking cel-shade visual style, Wild Arms 3 is a blast from the past that still packs a punch. Eternal Sonata. Eternal Sonata, a game with a premise as poetic as its title. The game takes place in the dreams of the famous composer Frédéric Chopin during his last hours. Yes, you heard it right, a JRPG based on a real-life classical music composer. And boy, does it hit all the right notes. The game's rich musical theme extends beyond just its plot, influencing character names, environment design, and even the combat system. Speaking of combat, it's a beautifully harmonized blend of turn-based and real-time mechanics that will have you conducting your party like a well-rehearsed orchestra. The story is a symphony of heart, humor, and fantasy, all presented in a gorgeous, vibrant style that makes every scene look like a painting. If all that wasn't enough to make you want to dive headfirst into Chopin's dream, the soundtrack is an absolute masterpiece. Eternal Sonata is a game that's as soothing to the ears as it is stimulating to the mind. The Last Remnant. Imagine a world filled with mystical artifacts known as remnants, which have brought about an age of prosperity. But with great power comes great, well, you know the rest. Cue the ensuing chaos, political intrigue, and large-scale warfare. What sets this game apart from others is its unique combat system, where you don't just control one character, but whole groups or unions of characters. This leads to some truly epic battles that feel like they have real weight and stakes. The protagonist, Rush Sykes, is as likable as he is relatable, and his journey to find his kidnapped sister is both emotionally engaging and packed with twists. The graphics, particular for its time, are stunning, bringing to life a beautifully detailed world that's just begging to be explored. The Last Remnant is a hidden gem of the 2000s, a game that's as deep as it is enjoyable. Jeanne d'Arc. Jeanne d'Arc, a game that takes a well-known historical figure and tosses her into a beautifully crafted fantasy world. In this tactical RPG, you follow the journey of Jeanne, a young shepherdess who is chosen by a mystical armlet to save France. Yes, you heard that right, a mystical armlet. The game's turn-based combat is a dance of strategy and tactics, with each battlefield providing unique challenges to overcome. Jeanne's ability to transform into a super-powered version of herself keeps battles interesting. The story, while taking liberties with history, is a fascinating mix of real-world events and fantastical elements. And let's not forget the visuals. With vibrant, cel-shaded graphics, Jeanne d'Arc is a feast for the eyes. It's a game that takes history, sprinkles it with fantasy, and delivers a truly memorable JRPG experience. Lufia, The Ruins of Lore. Lufia: The Ruins of Lore, the fourth entry in the Lufia series, is a game that is brimming with classic JRPG charm. You follow the journey of Eldin, Torma, and Rami as they set out to stop an evil empire from resurrecting an ancient beast. It sounds like your classic JRPG plot, but trust me, there's more to it than meets the eye. The game's combat system is traditional turn-based fare. The game's puzzle-filled dungeons are a standout feature, requiring you to use your brain as much as your brawn. The story is a charming adventure filled with lovable characters and unexpected twists. With its blend of puzzle solving, combat, and an engaging story, Lufia: The Ruins of Lore is a must-play for any JRPG fan. Mana Khemia: Alchemists of Alarivis. A game that takes the classroom drama and combines it with the thrill of adventure in a JRPG setting. The game's unique twist? You're not just any student. You're an alchemy student. The game's crafting system is its standout feature. Well, it's also part of the Atelier series of games. It's like the best science class you never had, where you combine ingredients to create new items and equipment. The turn-based combat system is a joy, with each character having their own abilities and the burst system adding more strategical element to battles. The story, revolving around Vayne Aurelius and his friends, is a fun mix of school life, personal growth, and uncovering the secrets of alchemy. The character interactions are charming, and you'll quickly find yourself invested in their personal stories and growth. Mana Khemia's quirky blend of school life and JRPG mechanics makes it a refreshing and enjoyable experience. Drakengard. Drakengard, a game that takes you on a roller coaster ride of emotions filled with epic battles and a dark, gripping narrative. You play as Kain, a prince who forms a pact with a dragon to save his sister. Yes, a dragon, and trust me, she's as badass as she sounds. The gameplay is a mix of hack and slash ground combats and aerial dragon-based battles that will have you feeling like a true dragon knight. The story is a dark tale of love, loss, and the horrors of war, interwoven with multiple endings that will keep you guessing until the very end. The game's soundtrack is hauntingly beautiful, perfectly complementing the dark and grim world. Drakengard's combination of ground and aerial combat, a dark and engrossing story, and unforgettable characters makes it a game that leaves a lasting impression. Atelier Iris: Eternal Mana. Atelier Iris: Eternal Mana. It's like a breath of fresh air in the world of JRPGs. This game takes the traditional elements of JRPGs and infuses them with a healthy dose of crafting and alchemy. You play as Klein, a young alchemist, and his journey is a delightful mix of exploration, combat, and yes, a lot of crafting. The game's alchemy system is deep and rewarding, allowing you to create everything from healing items to powerful weapons. The turn-based combat is a joy, with each character having their own unique abilities and mana spirits adding an extra layer of strategy. The story is a charming tale filled with colorful characters and a sense of wonder and discovery. The visuals are bright and cheerful, providing a colorful backdrop to your adventure. Atelier Iris Eternal Mana is a game that manages to blend traditional JRPG elements with a unique focus on crafting to create a truly memorable experience. Phantom Brave. Phantom Brave is a game that takes the grid-based strategy RPG genre and says, "You know what? We don't need grids." Instead, it opts for a free-roaming battle system that gives you a great deal of flexibility in how you approach each fight. You play as Marona, a young girl with the power to summon phantoms. And no, they're not just for show. You can actually use these phantoms in battle, each with their own abilities and strengths. But what really sets Phantom Brave apart is its confined system, where you bind phantoms to objects on the battlefield to aid you in combat. The story is a heart-wrenching tale of bravery, sacrifice, and the power of friendship. The visuals are vibrant and colorful, lending a pleasant charm to the game. Growlancer, Wayfarer of Time. Growlancer Wayfarer of Time is a game that's as epic as its title suggests. It takes you on a journey through a world on the brink of destruction, and you, as the silent protagonist, are the only one who can prevent it. The game's real-time strategy battles are a joy, providing a great deal of strategic depth and requiring you to think on your feet. The ring weapon system provides tons of customization, allowing you to tailor your character's abilities to your liking. The story is a sprawling epic filled with political intrigue, ancient prophecies, and a cast of characters that you'll quickly grow to love. The visuals are a delightful blend of 2D sprites and 3D environments, giving the game a unique aesthetic. Disgaea 2 Cursed Memories. Disgaea 2 Cursed Memories takes everything that was great about the original Disgaea and turns it up to 11. You follow the journey of Adele, a young man on a mission to break a curse and save his family. The game's turn-based tactical battles are deep and rewarding, filled with clever mechanics like geo symbols and the ability to stack characters for combo attacks. And let's not forget the item world, where you can level up your items by fighting through randomly generated dungeons. Yes, even your items level up in this game. The story is a delightful mix of comedy, drama, and over-the-top anime antics. The characters are vibrant and full of personality, from the stubborn Adele to the haughty demon Rosalind. With its deep combat, hilarious story, and endless replayability, Disgaea 2 Cursed Memories is a game that will keep you coming back for more. The Legend of Heroes: A Tear of Vermilion. Step into the world of Elfilden in The Legend of Heroes: A Tear of Vermilion, where you follow the life of Avin, an orphan seeking his sister Amiel. This engrossing adventure features a turn-based battle system, lovable characters, and a touching narrative that will leave you invested in the world's fate. Dive into a classic JRPG with plenty of dungeons, towns, and secrets to explore, and unravel the threads of an ancient prophecy. A Tear of Vermilion is a timeless JRPG experience that deserves a spot in any fan's collection. The World Ends With You. The World Ends With You takes you on a stylistic journey through the streets of Shibuya as you play Neku, a teenager caught in a life-or-death game that has him forging alliances and fighting off noise. With its innovative combat system, dazzling art style, and unforgettable character designs, this action-packed RPG is like no other. The World Ends With You combines fashion, music, and the supernatural to create a unique gaming experience that's both gripping and utterly original. Dive into this urban fantasy and make your mark on the city before the world ends.
Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door folds you into a delightful adventure in the 2D meets 3D world of Mario, where you'll team up with a colorful cast of characters to uncover the secrets of a legendary treasure. This action-packed RPG features clever puzzles, turn-based combat, and a playful art style that's bursting with charm. Paper Mario's whimsical world is filled with secrets, humor, and unforgettable moments that will have you glued to your controller from start to finish. Embark on a paper-thin adventure and unfold the mysteries of the Thousand-Year Door. Digimon World 3. Digimon World 3 invites you to explore the digital world as Junior, a young Digimon tamer who must save the world from the nefarious AOA organization. With its deep combat system, immersive storyline, and a huge roster of Digimon to train and evolve, this game is a must-play for fans of the franchise. Battle, explore, and digivolve your way through a vast world filled with surprises and challenges. Digimon World 3 is an engaging and nostalgic adventure that will have you hooked from the moment you step into the digital world. Mother 3. Mother 3 is a delightful adventure that whisks you away to the Nowhere Islands, where you'll follow the heartwarming and sometimes heartbreaking story of Lucas, a young boy caught in a struggle against an evil corporation. This quirky, earthbound sequel charms with its witty dialogue, unique cast of characters, and emotional narrative that keeps you guessing. With a turn-based battle system that incorporates rhythm-based action, Mother 3 stands out as a breakthrough JRPG experience. Prepare to laugh, cry, and groove your way through this timeless classic. Star Ocean: Till the End of Time. Embark on a galactic journey in Star Ocean Till the End of Time, an epic sci-fi JRPG that follows Fate Line God as he uncovers the truth about the universe and his own existence. With its action-packed combat system, expansive world, and enigmatic story, this game will keep you hooked for hours on end. Immerse yourself in a universe teeming with colorful characters, intriguing lore, and memorable side quests that make Star Ocean a standout title in the genre. Strap in for an interstellar adventure that'll take you to the edge of time and back. Disgaea: Hour of Darkness. Dive into the netherworld with Disgaea: Hour of Darkness, a zany and darkly humorous strategy RPG that follows the young demon prince, Laharl, on his quest to reclaim his throne. With its deep, grid-based combat system and a plethora of characters to recruit and customize, Disgaea offers a satisfying challenge for fans of tactical RPGs. Get ready to sink countless hours into this game's addictive gameplay as you explore the twisted depths of the netherworld and assemble the ultimate demonic army. Disgaea: Hour of Darkness is a demonically delightful adventure that's sure to have you hooked. Dragon Quest IX: Sentinels of the Starry Skies. Embark on a celestial adventure in Dragon Quest IX: Sentinels of the Starry Skies, where you'll create and customize your very own hero and band of adventures. This charming and accessible JRPG features a turn-based battle system, an engaging story, and a world brimming with secrets to uncover. Dragon Quest IX shines with its multiplayer functionality, allowing you to team up with friends to conquer dungeons and share in the thrill of discovery. Soar through the starry skies and experience a JRPG that's equal parts nostalgic and innovative. Okami. Okami paints a vivid and enchanting picture as you step into the ponds of Amaterasu, the sun goddess in the form of a white wolf, on a quest to restore life and color to a world besieged by darkness. Combining action, adventure, and puzzle solving, Okami offers a breathtaking experience with its celestial brush mechanics that let you interact with the environment and combat enemies. With its enchanting art style, engaging narrative, and lovable cast of characters, Okami is a JRPG masterpiece that deserves a place in every gamer's collection. Unleash your divine powers and bring light to the world in this unforgettable adventure. Mega Man Battle Network. Mega Man Battle Network offers a refreshing twist on the Mega Man formula by blending action and RPG elements in a vibrant digital world. Step into the shoes of Lon Hikari, a young boy who teams up with his Nets Navi, Mega Man.exe, to save the internet from a range of sinister cyber threats. With its real-time grid-based combat and customizable chip system, Mega Man Battle Network delivers a fresh experience for fans of both action games and JRPGs. Get ready to jack in and tackle the dangers of the digital world in this unforgettable adventure. The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask takes the beloved Legend of Zelda series in a darker and more mysterious direction, as you guide Link through a twisted world trapped in a 3-day cycle that's doomed to repeat itself. This action RPG challenges you to solve puzzles, explore dungeons, and thwart the impending apocalypse by harnessing the power of various masks. With its eerie atmosphere, iconic characters, and time travel mechanics, Majora's Mask stands out as an unforgettable entry in the Zelda franchise. Can you save the world of Termina from its grim fate? Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor. In SMT Devil Survivor, you'll find yourself trapped in a demon-infested Tokyo with only 7 days to survive and uncover the truth behind the deadly lockdown. This tactical RPG combines grid-based strategy with classic Shin Megami Tensei gameplay elements such as demon negotiation and fusion. With its branching storylines and multiple endings, Devil Survivor offers a deep experience that will keep you coming back for more. Hone your tactical skills and forge alliances with demons as you fight to survive in this intense and thrilling adventure. Final Fantasy XIII. Experience an epic tale of destiny and betrayal in Final Fantasy XIII, a stunning RPG that transports you to the world of Cocoon, where you'll join Lightning and her comrades as they battle against the oppressive Sanctum. With its visually breathtaking cutscenes, deep character development, and innovative paradigm shift battle system, Final Fantasy XIII offers a fresh experience for both newcomers and longtime fans of the series. Hey, I know it gets a lot of hate, but it does have a lot of charm. Plus, if you get through it, then you can play the better of its 2 direct sequels, 13-2 and Lightning Returns. Resonance of Fate. Tri-Ace, the masterminds behind the wildly varying Star Ocean series and the esteemed Valkyrie profile. Resonance of Fate is their enigmatic creation that perplexed many upon release, only to later become a cherished cult classic. This eccentric JRPG takes a page from John Woo's action playbook, featuring adrenaline-pumping, wall-leaping combat with guns blazing. Expect gravity-defying flips, dual-wielding pistols, and exhilarating airborne shots in one of the most visually striking battle systems ever seen in the genre. But don't let the spectacle fool you. Beneath the flashy exterior lies a complex web of mechanics that demands mastery to progress. You'll need to wrap your head around various bullet types, enemy defenses, tactical positioning, and intricate combinations of all these elements to avoid firing fruitlessly.
I'm ready.
Octopath Traveler. Octopath Traveler might seem like it's chasing the coattails of Bravely Default and SNES classics like Romancing Saga 3 and Final Fantasy 6. But don't be fooled. Unlike Bravely Default's traditional JRPG progression, Octopath Traveler embraces the open-world, quest-driven, non-linear RPG format that has become so prevalent. I understand that some players are not a fan of this style, but Octopath Traveler's jaw-dropping retro visuals, enchanting music, and brilliantly crafted battle system may change your mind. With the same producer as Bravely Default's at the helm, the game elevates the combat experience, allowing for intricate customization and synergies among the 8 protagonists. Don't expect a simple throwback to the golden age of JRPGs, as Octopath Traveler is far more than that. If you're searching for something of a classic JRPG experience, you might need to keep looking. While the mission structure can feel formulaic at times, and the dialogue might be a tad verbose, taking a leisurely approach to the game allows Octopath Traveler's unique blend of old and new to truly shine. Xenoblade Chronicles. It's no surprise that Xenoblade Chronicles earns its spot on this list, as it's widely regarded as a standout JRPG from its time. Amidst the rise of Western RPGs, Monolith Software stepped up, crafting a game that embraced contemporary RPG elements while donning the classic JRPG garb. Much like other open-world side-quest-driven RPGs, Xenoblade Chronicles rewards players at every turn, from exploring new locations to engaging with NPCs and vanquishing monsters. It's an experience that feels all too familiar for RPG enthusiasts over the past decade. But where Xenoblade Chronicles truly shines is in its setting. A world built upon the backs of 2 colossal warring titans, and its plethora of flamboyant outfits and eccentric characters, leaving even Japan's most extravagant designs in awe. Valkyria Chronicles 4. Say what you will about Sega, but they certainly know how to make a comeback. After the universally acclaimed Valkyria Chronicles in 2008, fans eagerly awaited more, only to face a decade of turmoil for the franchise, filled with lackluster PSP sequels and a misguided reboot that seemed to miss the mark on what made the original so popular. However, in 2018, Sega finally delivered the sequel fans had been craving for a decade, Valkyria Chronicles 4. This installment brought back the heartfelt storytelling that propelled the first game to stardom. Although the concept of playing an anime has become commonplace since the original's release, Sega's graphics engine still managed to provide a poignant portrayal of war that felt timeless. Valkyria Chronicles 4 also introduced smoother gameplay and more strategic depth, but its true triumph was in recapturing the emotional impact that resonated with fans a decade earlier. It's hard to say whether the long wait amplified the game's impact, but one thing's for sure, those 10 years were well worth it in the end.
Let's go, everybody!
Radiant Historia. Radiant Historia was destined for success from the get-go, debuting on the Nintendo DS in 2010 and quenching the thirst of JRPG enthusiasts everywhere. Taking inspiration from the much-loved Chrono Trigger, Radiant Historia masterfully weaves time travel into its gameplay and narrative, exploring depths the Square Enix classic merely skimmed. Featuring branching paths, dead ends, tough decisions, and time paradoxes, Radiant Historia offers it all in a sleek 16-bit inspired package. The game's charming characters and innovative battle system quickly won over fans, heralded as the best return to form for the genre in a decade. Initially a limited release, Atlus promptly reissued Radiant Historia once word of its brilliance spread. The most accessible version today is Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology for the Nintendo 3DS, a remake boasting extra story content and characters. While I lean towards the original's tighter experience and character art, it ultimately boils down to personal preference. Dragon Quest XI – Echoes of an Elusive Age. Dragon Quest XI – Echoes of an Elusive Age embraced the end of console exclusivity, making a name for itself across PlayStation 4, Nintendo 3DS, PC, and later, the Nintendo Switch. This shift in approach meant more gamers could experience this iconic franchise. Fortunately, Dragon Quest XI delivered a fresh, modern open-world RPG while retaining the series' charming traditions. From adorable slimes and Puff Puff to those unmistakable Toriyama character designs, Dragon Quest XI has the captivating narrative and engaging characters to support its latest installment. But with such a vast world to explore, who could focus solely on the story? The game thrives on episodic adventures rather than a singular, sweeping narrative. By exploring every nook and cranny, players can uncover the essence that has fueled the series for decades. Ni no Kuni – Wrath of the White Witch. Back when playing an anime was a novel concept, with only Sega's Valkyria Chronicles finding success, Ni no Kuni – Wrath of the White Witch sounded incredibly ambitious. The allure of this game lay in the collaboration between Level 5, pre-Yokai Watch, and Studio Ghibli, famed for films like Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away. The resulting game exceeded expectations, delivering a captivating anime world and more. With monster collecting being a popular JRPG pastime, Ni no Kuni presented a vibrant array of creatures to discover. The storytelling prowess of Level 5 and Studio Ghibli managed to evoke that immersive feeling nostalgic fans craved. Nier Automata. This is a classic we'll discuss for years, thanks to its slick combat, quirky world filled with intriguing robots, complex moral questions, and heart-wrenching plot twists with real-world consequences. It's hard to see action RPGs in the same light again. Platinum Games expertly balanced the world size, side quests, and intense battles. Nier Automata is truly special, whether you're aiming for one ending or whether you're determined to experience all of them. If there's one game that could tempt me to pick up PlayStation 4 again, it's this one. Though a Nintendo intervention would be appreciated.
I am definitely
Wink, wink.
not the person to discuss this with.
I don't think I can.
Fire Emblem Awakening. Nintendo rejuvenated its beloved Fire Emblem series with the release of Fire Emblem Awakening. Selling over 1 million copies and garnering worldwide praise, this game is now credited with saving the series. A flop could have been its last. To appeal to a broader audience, Intelligent Systems traded some hardcore elements for accessibility, a move that displeased some die-hard fans. However, the resulting cast of characters, stellar battle system, and romance mechanics became instant hits with fans and newcomers alike. While old-school fans prefer a more linear and hardcore Fire Emblem experience, like the original Game Boy Advance release in the US,
we can't deny that Nintendo struck gold with Awakening.
Huh?
Ys, Memories of Celceta. The PS Vita contains an impressive lineup of JRPGs, but if you're looking for one that epitomizes portable gameplay and on-the-go fun, Falcom Games' Ys series is a prime candidate. With a history rooted in action RPGs, this particular entry feels like a turbocharged Diablo 3. Players control a 3-member party, swapping between characters to vary weapons and fighting styles, while also parrying and dodging for tactical advantages. Facing off against hordes of monsters and bosses, players will need to utilize every skill and power at their disposal. Collecting loot and exploring the vast Celceta forest yields rewards and crafting materials for stronger weapons. Although technically the third iteration of the fourth Ys game, it only features a few nods to its predecessors, allowing newcomers to enjoy this action-packed RPG with its amnesiac hero story trope. Ultimately, the gameplay and combat are the true stars of this PS Vita gem. Trails of Cold Steel. Trails of Cold Steel may be a slow burn, but trust me, the payoff is well worth the wait. As with previous Legend of Heroes games, Cold Steel masterfully crafts an immersive world and endearing characters. Step into the shoes of Class 7 at Thor's Military Academy, nestled in the Erebonian Empire, as they form an experimental class bridging the gap between commoners and nobles. The Trail series is renowned for its ambitious storytelling, and Cold Steel proudly continues this tradition, linking itself to aspects of Trails in the Sky and Crossbell games. The first game in the Trail series to embrace full 3D, Cold Steel boasts massive improvements, making its world even more captivating. The updated combat system introduces a new link mechanic, binding characters together for diverse effects, and an exciting follow-up attack feature. In short, Trails of Cold Steel is a criminally underrated JRPG masterpiece with a phenomenal story and unforgettable characters that truly deserve the spotlight.
Cowardice know no bounds.
We're running out of time.
Kingdom Hearts: Birth by Sleep. Birth by Sleep, hailed by many fans as the pinnacle of the Kingdom Hearts franchise, doesn't let its PSP roots hold it back, delivering a truly authentic experience. Serving as a prequel to the entire series, Birth by Sleep brings in vital characters like young Keyblade masters Terra, Aqua, and Ventus, as well as the formidable villain Xehanort. The game offers a unique twist with 3 distinct storylines, each revolving around one of the main characters that intertwine to create a deeply engaging and emotional narrative with significant implications for the franchise. But it's not just about the story. The gameplay also shines. Though Birth by Sleep's worlds might be smaller than those in the main games, its combat encounters are rapid-fire and exhilarating. New mechanics such as form changes and the shotlock system further expand your arsenal against foes. With stellar storytelling and fan-favorite characters Terra, Aqua, and Ventus, it's no wonder Birth by Sleep holds a special place in the hearts of Kingdom Hearts enthusiasts. Pun not intended. I Am Setsuna. In 2016, the JRPG genre witnessed a titanic clash between Square Enix and Atlus. But before that epic showdown, we were graced with I Am Setsuna. Tokyo RPG Factory, a Square Enix studio, crafted this deeply personal game with an evident love for classics like Final Fantasy X and Chrono Trigger.
Despite being designed to evoke nostalgia, I Am Setsuna stands out through its originality and minimalist development. Utilizing the Unity engine, Tokyo RPG Factory made do with limited resources, opting for a solitary pianist's enchanting score and snowy landscapes that encapsulate themes of loneliness and isolation. Exploring themes like death, loss, suffering, and regret, the game tugs at your heartstrings as you join its complex characters on their journey. You'll laugh, cry, and become so invested in the story that the nods to its inspirations hardly matter. Bravely Default. This title distilled 3 decades of genre evolution into a sleek, handheld package with Square Enix going all out on the game's stunning visuals and one of the decade's best soundtracks. Though Bravely Default takes cues from classic Final Fantasy games with familiar job classes and a polished battle system, it sets itself apart with unexpected twists and a social minigame. As a result, players could rake in resources and powerful weapons well ahead of schedule. The localization spared no expense, boasting quality voice acting, brilliant villain characterization, and a ground-up rebuild that addressed the original Japanese version's issues. While some argue the plot twist leads to repetition by that point, players are so invested in their characters and job classes that it hardly matters. Bravely Default's million sales milestone led Square Enix to acknowledge the continued demand for classic JRPGs. As one of the most influential titles in the last decade, Bravely Default marked a new era for the genre.
Mining me? It's time you knew your place!
Disgaea 5: Allies of Vengeance. There's no way we could leave the Disgaea series off this list, especially the 5th installment, which offers some of the most intricate and hardcore strategy JRPG gameplay of this generation. Think Civilization 5 is tough? You haven't seen anything yet. Fancy creating overpowered characters to breeze through the main campaign? Dive into the item world feature and start grinding. Need more firepower? Employ exploding penguins or stack party members into a human column for colossal damage. Craving a challenge? Petition the demonic equivalent of Parliament for tougher dungeons and leveled up enemies. Sure, Disgaea 5 has a story about a demon's quest for revenge, spanning different underworld realms with quirky humor from its supporting cast. But the true star is the deep, tactical JRPG experience that'll keep you enthralled for weeks, if not months. While older games in the series have their merits, each Disgaea installment improves upon its predecessors, making the 5th game a dream for RPG fans wanting to venture beyond the main story. Ys 8: Lacrimosa of Dana. Ys 8: Lacrimosa of Dana marks a significant leap forward for the Ys series, excelling in both presentation and storytelling. Our heroes, Adol and Doggy, find themselves shipwrecked on the cursed Isle of Seirin after their passenger ship, the Lombardia, meets a tragic end. The engaging narrative introduces a dual protagonist, Dana, who uncovers secrets about Adol and the island's role in the series. But it's the exhilarating combat that steals the show, with a fast-paced system that demands constant vigilance. Although you can switch characters on the fly, the party member AI holds its own, allowing you to fight your way. Rescuing survivors unlock new facilities at your base camp and expands your exploration opportunities, pushing you to search for optional NPCs. While Ys 8's launch was marred by technical hiccups and a patchy translation, these issues have since been resolved, leaving you with a polished, captivating JRPG experience. Shin Megami Tensei 4. Shin Megami Tensei might have been overshadowed by its spin-off series Persona, but Atlus continues to prove that the parent series is still a powerhouse. Shin Megami Tensei 4 is a testament to this, staying true to its narrative roots and the spine-chilling interactions with demons. Central to every main Shin Megami Tensei game is the struggle between chaos and law, rather than the typical good versus evil. Chaos might bring about positive change, while law could lead to dark deeds for the greater good. Our protagonist is swayed by two allies who influence choices that ultimately determine the fate of the world. By the end, you'll question whether this RPG world is worth saving or if it's better to start anew. As an early pioneer of morality in gaming, Shin Megami Tensei 4 reminds us that moral choices aren't as black and white as some other games might suggest. And let's not forget the fantastic battle system and plethora of cool demons, as well as the expansion pack or sequel, Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse, both exclusively available on the Nintendo 3DS.
Lingers on the tongue.
I'll reveal your true form.
Persona 5. It seemed impossible for Atlus to surpass Persona 4, but Persona 5 stepped up and delivered. Returning to Tokyo's bustling streets, this installment introduces a new cast of intriguing characters, twisted storylines, wicked demons, and catchy tunes that spawned a generation of Persona spin-offs. At the core of this thriving franchise is the game itself, with Persona 5's mechanics honed to perfection. Toppling enemies with elemental attacks remains as satisfying as ever, while the game's pacing ensures you feel like every moment is well spent. The thief motif brings an exciting stealth element that even Solid Snake might envy. Persona's current dominance in the JRPG realm is no accident. Its developers consistently deliver master classes in game design. By building on a simple, flexible formula, they keep each installment fresh without straying too far off course. Unlike some other franchises out there. Tales of Berseria. The Tales series has been a staple of action JRPGs for over 2 decades, and Tales of Berseria took the franchise to new heights with its darker narrative. The protagonist, Velvet Crow, is transformed into an undying demon by a horrific event, igniting her quest for vengeance. Each party member has their own tragic backstory or deep character flaw, adding layers of intrigue to the story. Berseria challenges traditional notions of morality, making you question if the main characters are truly right or wrong in their actions. The game boasts a fast-paced combat system that consistently adds new elements and twists, keeping the gameplay engaging throughout. With classics like Symphonia and Vesperia in the series, Tales of Berseria easily earns its place among the best of the Tales franchise.
No, but I do know the difference between a sail and a rudder.
Final Fantasy 15. It's clear that Square Enix isn't afraid to break the mold with their flagship franchise, and Final Fantasy 15 is no exception. The series may have struggled to find its voice and style in recent years, but that doesn't stop me from adoring this game. Final Fantasy XV might appear clunky and tired, trying to keep pace with open-world RPGs like The Witcher 3. Its combat may leave you wondering what on earth is happening, and the story may derail in the latter acts, quite literally, as it takes place on a train. However, this game is brimming with heart. Despite a tumultuous decade-long development cycle, Square Enix still managed to deliver endearing characters like Noctis and his friends. It might not resemble a traditional Final Fantasy game, but the series' legacy is woven throughout. Final Fantasy XV defiantly shatters the conventions of open-world exploration. And while my explanation may be as chaotic as the game's closing chapter, there's just something about it that I can't help but love. Stand by me as an opening theme for a Final Fantasy game? Count me in. The Last Story. As the second standout Wii JRPG of 2012, The Last Story, developed by Hironobu Sakaguchi's Mistwalker, combines innovative combat with classic, heartfelt storytelling. While the story itself might not be groundbreaking, the characters and their relationships are truly endearing, leaving you yearning for more time with Zael and his band of mercenaries by the end. The game's combat system is unique, as players use cover and forward movement on the analog stick to automatically attack enemies, while special moves and evasive actions require button presses. You're in charge of assigning commands to your AI-controlled party members to ensure they can cast spells without interruption. You'll also need to create magic circles on the ground to enhance spells and attack stats. The Last Story's combat is hectic, rewarding players who can adapt on the fly and position themselves effectively based on their party setup. Despite the combat focus, the game never loses sight of its personal narrative, weaving together a tale of love, rags to riches, and betrayal. It's a beautiful, balanced story that keeps players engaged without causing confusion.
Yes! Dale, have a few drinks with me, just for an hour.
Fire Emblem: Three Houses. Over the past decade, Fire Emblem was transformed from a franchise on the brink of extinction to one of Nintendo's shining stars. While Fire Emblem Awakening has spared it for dying a few years prior, this remarkable turnaround has reached its peak with Fire Emblem Three Houses, arguably one of the best entries in the series. Those of us who've had the chance to dive into the game since its release have been completely captivated by its enchanting world. Boasting a captivating and well-written cast of characters, fantastic music, and superb gameplay that's been honed and polished for a decade, Three Houses delivers the ultimate Fire Emblem experience. It's definitely worth checking out.
It's quite the beauty too. And I must admit, I've even checked out Professor Manuela.
Etrian Odyssey 4: Legend of the Titan. Etrian Odyssey, a series that gained a loyal following on the Nintendo DS, finally caught the attention of a wider audience with its fourth installment. By making the game more accessible and dialing back the difficulty, it flourished on the thriving Nintendo 3DS platform. While longtime fans appreciate Etrian Odyssey 4, it's seen as a solid gateway into a more expansive universe. With smaller dungeons, simpler bosses, and fewer character classes, it still manages to retain the fun of diving into dungeons, crafting team synergies, and, most importantly, drawing your own maps. Etrian Odyssey 4 is a brilliant way to spend 60 hours of your gaming life without the frustration of breaking multiple handhelds along the way.
Thanks to its success, the series continued to thrive with Atlus's Nintendo 3DS engine powering two sequels, Etrian Odyssey 5 Beyond the Myth and Etrian Odyssey Nexus, remakes of the first two games, and even a couple of crossover games with another popular Atlus series, Persona. Dragon's Crown. Dragon's Crown, Vanillaware's homage to Capcom's Dungeons & Dragons arcade games, defied the odds when it became a sales success upon its 2013 release. This side-scrolling beat-em-up, initially envisioned as a Sega Dreamcast title, merges RPG mechanics with traditional brawler gameplay for a more engaging experience. The game's main attraction is its co-op action, with up to 4 players navigating stages together. Each character embodies an RPG archetype, but with customizable equipment and skills, they remain versatile. Even when playing solo, you can create a party with revived NPC allies. Vanillaware's signature stunning art shines through, though some character designs veer toward the overly sexualized.
Give me that model. But sir, it's not real. Get me that model.
Despite its visual richness, Dragon's Crown shares a common issue with other Vanillaware games, a limited number of areas to explore. But the addition of randomly generated dungeons and the thrill of finding new loot keep players engaged. In the end, Dragon's Crown stands as one of the decade's best brawlers and a delightful co-op RPG, regardless of whether the art is to everyone's taste. Wow, that was a substantial list, wasn't it? Now let's dive into the heart of our discussion. Which decade truly stands out among the rest? In our analysis, we'll be looking at not just the number of iconic games each decade produced, but also the degree of influence and acclaim these games achieved during their prime. Let's delve into the cultural impact these games had and the lasting legacy they've left on the JRPG genre. So first, let's look at the 1990s. The 90s, a time where the JRPG genre truly began to come into its own. During this decade, we saw the release of several games that aren't just considered iconic within the genre, but also rank among the best games of all time. The heavy hitters here are titles like Final Fantasy VI and VII, Chrono Trigger, and Secret of Mana, among others. These games pushed the envelope in terms of storytelling, character development, and gameplay mechanics. Final Fantasy VI and VII are widely regarded as two of the best entries in one of the most influential series in the JRPG genre, with VII in particular helping to popularize JRPG in the West. Chrono Trigger, with its innovative multiple endings and unique battle mechanics, set the standard for what a JRPG could achieve narratively and mechanically. But the 90s weren't just about these major titles. Games like Earthbound with its unique setting and tone, and Suikoden 2 with its deep narrative and vast cast of characters helped diversify the genre and demonstrated that JRPGs could tackle a wide range of themes and settings. Moving on to the 2000s, the genre continued to evolve and experiment. This decade gave us games like Final Fantasy X and XII, Persona 3 and 4, and Dragon Quest VIII, among others. In this era, JRPGs began to more fully embrace voice acting, complex narratives, and deeper character development, which resulted in games that were more cinematic and immersive than ever before. Standout games from this decade include Persona 3 and 4, which mix traditional dungeon crawling gameplay with a distinct social simulation mechanic, resulting in a fresh and engaging take on the genre. Final Fantasy XII was also notable for its move to a more open world and real-time combat system, signaling a significant shift in the series which a lot of people hated. I say just let them cry in the corner since it's one of the best things that happened in Final Fantasy, to be honest.
Now, let's not overlook titles like Kingdom Hearts, which uniquely blended action RPG mechanics with beloved Disney and Final Fantasy characters, or Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, known for its challenging gameplay and complex narrative. As we move into the 2010s, the JRPG genre continued to thrive, with games like Persona 5, Xenoblade Chronicles, and Nier Automata leading the charge. This decade was characterized by a blend of tradition and innovation, as developers both returned to and subverted genre conventions. Persona 5 Royal is often held up as one of the best JRPGs of recent years, praised for its stylish presentation, engaging narrative, and in-depth gameplay mechanics. Meanwhile, games like Xenoblade Chronicles pushed the genre forward with expansive open worlds and real-time combat. In terms of innovation, Nier Automata surprises with its blend of action, RPG, and bullet hell mechanics, along with a story that pushes the boundaries of what a video game narrative can be. Meanwhile, games like Fire Emblem Awakening revitalized their respective franchises and brought them to a new audience. So, which decade is the winner? It's a tough call, as each brought something unique to the table. The 90s laid the foundation and set the standard, the 2000s expanded and deepened the genre, and the 2010s combined tradition and innovation to create new and exciting experiences. Ultimately, the best decade may come down to personal preference and what aspects of JRPGs resonate most with you as a player. But if you're seeking my personal verdict, you can find hints in both the introduction and my channel name. Unsurprisingly, I select the 1990s as the champion. Besides the degree of bias I exude, you can't deny the degree of influence these games exerted. Coupled with the exceptional storytelling and execution, it's simply hard to match even in today's age. So we've reached the end of the video. Thanks for sticking around if you've made it this far, and I hope you've enjoyed watching. I've mentioned a multitude of fantastic games in this video, but with the sheer volume of excellent releases, I understand that some have inevitably been overlooked, so you can comment them down below. See you guys in the next one.